have confirmed more women to the federal courts than ever before. Including to the highest court in our land. Her name is Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Another Democratic representative in the state has joined a senator in approving and encouraging others to approve the plan, arguing that $2,000 payments would help families recover from this crisis. She said working people and families would greatly benefit from this much-needed support, cover the cost of childcare, groceries, and back-to-school materials. Now, congressional lawmakers have continued to push for student loan forgiveness. The Biden administration finally announced its forgiveness for up to $20,000 in federal student loans. However, some say that this will either make inflation worse or won't have any impact at all. The Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget asserts that the debt relief would wipe out the disinflationary funds of the Inflation Reduction Act, which was passed into law early this month. It estimates the executive action will cost $400 to $600 billion, and is previously estimated that $10,000 in forgiveness would add 0.15% to the Personal Consumption Expenditure Price Index. The Center for American Progress, which previously called on the White House to cancel at least 10,000 student debt, also says the payment and impact on inflation will be minor. Similarly, Moody's Analytic chief economist says the effect on inflation is largely a wash. He estimates that student debt forgiveness starting at $10,000 will increase inflation by 0.08%. Over 1 million Americans can expect to receive a surprise stimulus check from the IRS. President Biden is meeting with several lawmakers to discuss the future stimulus plans. Automatic relief payments are also going to be voted on soon. The IRS announced that millions of taxpayers will get refunds for late filing penalties assessed in recent years. The refunds will apply to penalties from the 2019 and 2020 tax years. If you received a late filing penalty for either of those years, but you haven't paid it yet, the IRS will remove it from your account. If you paid it already, you'll get either a credit card or a refund. This could very well be a big deal for some taxpayers. Late filing penalties for individual income tax returns usually start at a rate of 5% of a person's unpaid tax bill per month and can rise as high as 25%. IRS Commissioner Chuck Reddick said in a news release, the penalty relief issued today is yet another way the agency is supporting people during this unprecedented time. Individual tax returns must be filed by September 30th to qualify for the penalty forgiveness. The deadlines applies to 2019 and 2020 taxes, which you may have already filed. It's also important to remember that the regular tax filing deadlines for those 2 years were postponed due to the crisis. Penalties related to the 2021 taxes from the most recent tax season are not eligible for the refunds. Other than that, you don't need to do anything to receive the refund and credit if you're eligible. The IRS has said that most people can expect to receive their payments or credits by the end of September. Although the agency expects to distribute more than $1 billion in refunds, it's not clear whether those refunds will come via mail or direct deposit, or if taxpayers will be able to get the status of the refund online. The IRS said that in addition to providing much-needed relief to taxpayers, the refunds will help alleviate some strain on the agency's resources, which were stretched thin even before the crisis. The agency has faced scrutiny for a backlog of millions of unprocessed tax returns and a serious staffing shortage. Though a fresh infusion of cash from Congress is expected to help the IRS hire new employees and improve services for taxpayers. Representative Omar, along with other progressive lawmakers, have also proposed legislation that will dole out regular stimulus checks or guaranteed income through monthly payments of up to $1,200 and $600 for children. The Minnesota Congresswoman announced a proposal saying that poverty is a choice in a press release and a Twitter post about the legislation. Democratic Representatives Dwight Evans of Pennsylvania, Mary Newman of Illinois, and Jamal Bowman have also endorsed the bill. Omar said in an official statement about the bill, "For too long we have prioritized endless growth while millions of people are hungry or homeless or without health care. The crisis has laid bare these inequalities. We as a nation have the ability to make sure everyone has their basic needs met, like food, housing, and health care." Omar pointed to pilot programs in various places across the country that provided guaranteed income to some Americans. The Congresswoman agreed and argued that the U.S. should become the leader in measuring and safeguarding our people's economic well-being, saying her legislation would be a start in that direction. The program, if the legislation were to pass, would not immediately begin sending out $1,200 checks to most Americans. Instead, it will create a $2.5 billion grant program to fund pilot guaranteed income programs across the country. The program will be studied from 2023 to 2027, and the national program will begin in 2028. Then the legislation will be about $1,200 per month, for people making less than $75,000 a year.
So Democrats, I believe that when you know what you stand for, you know what to fight for. So let us remind the American people what Democrats stand for. Let us remind the American people that we as Democrats, we fight for the people, all the people. Let us remind them in this moment that the stakes could not be higher. Right now, extremist so-called leaders are trumpeting the rhetoric of freedom, while they restrict and systematically attempt to take away freedoms. The United States Supreme Court just took a constitutional right that had been recognized from the people of America, from the women of America. And now, these extremist so-called leaders are passing laws to criminalize healthcare providers and punish women. They believe that government should make personal decisions for women. That government should make decisions for women about their own body. Well, we do not. We trust women. And an important point to be made on that subject is on the subject of choice and what the Dobbs decision has done and what it means. It's an important point to acknowledge that you don't have to abandon your faith or your beliefs to agree that the government should not be making that decision for her.
Some legislators say regulation is not enough. Crypto should just be banned. Let's bring in one of them, and that is Representative Brad Sherman of Southern California. Congressman Sherman, welcome to the program. I know what you think, and you believe that it should be outlawed, but would you even admit that horse has left the barn, that it's too late to ever ban this type of crypto trading, but we have to get smart about regulation, or is there still time, to your mind, ban it?
This is probably not the time we can do it, but I think we will have an opportunity. Crypto is not a new asset class. Charles Ponzi developed this asset class well over a century ago. And I think that if crypto loses some of the money and power that's behind it, that we will have an opportunity to regain that control. The key thing is to impose the Know Your Customer anti-money laundering laws on crypto. Once it's clear that those laws are imposed, crypto loses the one thing it aspires to be, and that is successfully compete with the dollar by having an advantage over the dollar.